John Robinson was a con man that was responsible for a slew of crimes throughout Kansas City. These crimes dated back to 1967. At least this is the side of him that he portrayed to the world. But in reality, he was making fake companies to steal from people. Over time, his mask slowly dropped because his neighbors started finding out that he was trying to make sexual advances to their wives. He was also behind closed doors bragging about being a slave master of a BDSM group. In 1984, John hired Paula Godfrey to work at one of his fake companies. He had sold her a dream about giving her a new job, had her sign some mediocre paperwork. Soon after her family lost complete contact with her, they received a typed up letter with her signature on it. It was saying that she was fine and that he had sent her away for training and that she didn't want to speak with them. Her family did not buy this and they went to the police. But considering there was no signs of there being a crime, the case was closed. In 1985, John used a new alias. He went by the name John Osborne and claimed that he owned a company that helped women get jobs and housing. This is when he got connected to Lisa Stasi and her 4-month-old Tiffany Stasi. He promised her housing and a job, but after only 1 week of being connected with her, he reached out to his brother Don and his sister-in-law Helen, saying that he knew a woman that took her own life and that he had a baby that they could adopt. He requested $5,500 in adoption fees. They never knew anything about the sinister backstory. He kept sending updates to her family for years. In 1987, he met a woman named Catherine Clampett. He promised her a job traveling and a new wardrobe, so she left her child in Texas, hoping that she was going to have a better life. She signed his mediocre paperwork, and she was never heard from again. Between the years of 1987 and 1993, John was locked up for fraud, but this is where he met a woman named Beverly Bonnet. She was a 49-year-old prison librarian. When he got out of prison, he convinced her to move to Kansas City for a new life. She agreed, she showed up, she signed his mediocre paperwork. He even rented out a mailbox in Beverly's name so that he could get her alimony checks sent there. He not only cashed her checks for years, but he kept sending her family updates for years. As the internet became more popular, he started using it more to his advantage. He created an online profile naming himself the Slave Master. He was in and out of chat rooms looking for women to submit to him. The next victim was a 45-year-old woman named Sheila Faith. Sheila thought she was in love with him. He fed her a dream that he was a successful businessman and that he was looking for love. He even promised to pay her disabled daughter Debbie's medical bills. After they visited him in Kansas City, they were never heard from again. In 1994, he set up a mailbox under Sheila's name. This was the mailbox that was recently Beverly's. He then notified the Social Security Administration about sending the mail to this mailbox. So he was cashing her checks for years. And he was sending postcards to Sheila's sisters for years. In the late 90s, he became popular in these chat rooms. His next victim was Isabella Lesvie, a 21-year-old college student. He set her up an apartment, gave her an engagement ring, and also rented out a mailbox in her name too. He had her sign a 115-word slave contract, which gave him full control over her life, including her bank accounts. By the end of 1999, Isabella had vanished. He sent fake emails to her parents leading up to his arrest. In the year of 2000, he met 27-year-old Suzette, a nurse that was interested in BDSM. He convinced her to move to Kansas City with him, telling her that he had a job for her that he could pay her $60,000 a year to take care of his father. But little did she know his father had passed away years before. Since she brought dogs with her, he sent them to the groomers. He then ditched the dogs. He convinced her to complete his mediocre paperwork, claiming that it was for passports. But when her family got through to John, he claimed that he didn't know where she was and that she ran off with another man. Her family didn't buy this, so she called it in to the police. Even though Suzette's family wasn't the first family to reach out to police, they were the first family to get the police to listen to them. So when the police did a deep dive of John's background, they started seeing that he had connections with many missing women and a bunch of fraud cases. So they assembled a task force. While the police was closing in on John, he was able to lure in 2 more women. But when these women didn't submit to his requests, he brutally beat them, and they got away and told police. In the year 2000, he was arrested on SA charges. But this is when they obtained a search warrant of his property, and they found sealed barrels with deceased human bodies inside of them. And each of the victims had been hit over the head multiple times with a hammer. They were also led to a storage unit that had more barrels containing bodies, and some of the women's important documents, like Social Security cards, birth certificates, even their signed slave contracts, and some of the postcards that he had been sending out to their relatives over the years. Through DNA testing, Tiffany Stasi, that John gave to his brother and his wife, that was later renamed Heather, concluded that she was indeed Lisa Stasi's daughter. When Heather spoke out, she said that he had made sexual advances towards her months before his arrest, and that she could have ended up in one of those barrels. John Robinson was sentenced to death.